welcome back, everybody. Today's guest has driven his 2015 uh, Ford Mustang EcoBoost to several events such as Autocross Week, Ford Fest, SECA, Solo Nats, Mid-Atlantic Car Fest, Power Tour, UMI Autocross Challenge, UMI King of the Mountain, and I'm sure I'm missing some others. Um, Probably most known for transporting his Mustang in a school bus. I'm happy to have Pete Bruschi on the show today. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Tim.
Yeah. So you're obviously a very busy guy, but according to that list I've read so far. And I, how did you get started in all this?
Yeah. No, it's just an honor to be here. Especially catching up on your show, listening to the Jimmy Day episode. Jimmy Day is a superhero. I'd love to aspire to be him and put on some awesome events like him at some point. And
Mhm.
Terry Fair, he's put a lot of notes online, and I'm running his parts. And Dave Schatz too. I don't feel so bad losing to Dave Schatz after listening to your episode with him. So I don't know what I'm doing on here in
Yeah.
comparison to those guys, but I'm still developing and just trying to find my way into this grassroots racing, and that's kind of how I started. I grew up going to the Saturday night short track on Long Island, the last one, Riverhead Raceway.
Okay.
So yeah, born and raised on Long Island, and that was all I knew about motorsports. Obviously NASCAR being big, like we thought about, big time NASCAR, but it was unreachable
Mm.
for anybody. Our last breakout was Steve Park in the number one car, and that nobody from up north was really hitting it big. And we enjoyed our time at the short track. And I went to school for mechanical engineering in Rochester, New York, so not too far from the state, and I had family close by. But I go to the car club at RIT, and I see a bunch of dudes in Miatas. And so, like, there's a lot of them. And I'm like, what are y'all doing with these hairdresser cars? And they're like, well, you got to come to the local autocross. And so it was kind of from there that I got absorbed into the sport. Um, I had seen autocross at a Good Guys, but again, it was, Jersey barrier racing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it also looked like super risky and not, then the cars were high end muscle cars. And I'm just like, well, I don't have any of that. But Nick Pasternak, every time I see him, I remind him that this is all your fault, that I went to RIT with him, and he showed me the ropes. He was one of those guys with a Miata, and just took me down that rabbit hole and showed me that anyone can do this sport in a daily driver for like no money,
Mhm.
compared to a Saturday night short track car. That team was probably looking at $10 or $20,000 year, just in consumables, not even the car, not even getting to from the track. But it was just getting it to a level where anyone could do this. That's what I love about SCCA as a starting point, and I really recommend, as I grow my audience in the sport. I really just want to keep reminding people. I want people to see me in my four-cylinder Mustang, the car that I could afford straight out of college, and see that, you could do this in a daily. My car was daily driven, my only car for 5 years, and it's been on a closed course on average one every 9 days in the 7 years that I've owned it.
Golly.
One
That's
every nine
crazy.
days. Yeah,
That's
I'm kind of
crazy.
insane.
When the circle track stuff, were you crewing for anybody or just more spectator?
Yeah, no, definitely crew.
Okay.
My dad was around Riverhead Raceway for about 30 years.
Mhm.
Um, that he hung out. He was a tool man. So we helped a lot of his customers, and basically everybody we helped out, he had known through business. So we were caught most of our time we spent with the Hydes. They were three generation figure eight racers. So this wasn't a sideshow that you
Okay.
see once a year. This was Riverhead is a bowl of asphalt.
Mm.
And on a Saturday night, it becomes the busiest intersection on Long Island because they do the figure eight stock car. You could go on YouTube, you could go on ESPN Wide World of Sports, and there's actually somebody uploaded a bunch of VHS tapes. One of them was our driver. He won the pole. And it was kind of interesting because back in the day, the cheap way to do it, you could run a V8 car, but they ballasted the V8s. You could do it cheaper with a 260 Chevy straight six
Mm.
back when you could find those in junkyards everywhere. So going around YouTube looking at figure eight races, I find there's just Kenny Hyde Sr. leading a race on YouTube and before I was born, so I've been going to the racetrack since I could fit in a backpack, um, and just being along for the ride. And I remember my first oil change and 10 quarts in the small block Chevy. I must have been 8 years old. I could count to 10, so surely I could just had to pour them slow. I had to
Right.
learn that lesson the hard way. But that's how I grew up. I was the youngest guy on the team, so the fastest runner. We
Mm.
would watch from the fence, the chain
Mm.
link fence. In NASCAR 4 was our figure eight turn one. So they're
Mm.
coming to there was the restart line for the NASCAR, the left-hand turns was
Mm.
our start finish line for the figure eights.
Mm.
So they were coming straight at us and we could see them through the fence. And if Kenny Sr. got a flat or Kenny Jr.'s a couple of years older than me, I was the first guy in the pits. And, I had the car jacked up and I had the gun in my hand. By the time the old guys caught up behind me, one of them would roll me the tire, or something like that. Or if he got banged up, sometimes you'd put gloves on, sometimes you didn't. You just yank that fender out and it's
Yeah.
just sheet metal,
Hmm.
and patch them back up. They only gave you, it's a quarter-mile track. They only gave you a few caution laps to get it out. So, if you had severe enough damage, you're out of the race. So you
Yeah.
had to be fast.
That,
So
that, that circle eight, I mean, the figure eight is
yeah,
is always kind of baffling to me. I mean,
it's dicey. Yeah.
yeah, you think? I
Because,
mean,
yeah, because, well, the leaders, one and two, they're not going to give up,
mm.
and you have to decide if you're hanging around the back of the pack, if it's getting close at the X,
Mm.
are you going to gun it and make it through? If you stop and let the whole field go by, you're going a lap down. You're
Mm.
out of the race. So if you think you have a chance, you have to go for it. And
Mm.
it wasn't, they would put on a show. They would put on a pretty good show. They had guys who probably weren't the most competitive, but just enjoyed the thrill of riding around in the back and running the X.
Yeah.
And the crowd would go nuts too. It was the craziest show of the night. They always put us last,
Mm.
so it was under the lights, and it was pretty epic. Only a few X's,
Mm.
a season, but it
Mm.
did happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, senior never won championships, but once we got junior in the car, senior could win a few races a year,
Mm.
but his son Kenny Jr. He got a couple, two, three championships out of it. Two of them that my dad and I were directly involved in. So it was fun growing up around that, and just like to my dad, I'm like, hey, can I get a go-kart or something like Kenny Jr.?
Mm.
When we were about his age and he was hopping in, and my dad was like, well, we don't spend any money, we have our fun. Um, and we're trying to save up to help you go to school. And then you could blow your money however you want when you got a real job, like we're not gonna blow all the money, putting you into a dead end racing at a circle track,
Right.
and I thank them so much for it because I kind of got my cake and ate it too. I hacked my way through an engineering degree, and kind of what set me on the path was I was on an internship and I was at a boat manufacturing. We made glass for boats,
Mm.
windshields and windows, sliding glass doors for yachts, just all kinds of glass that went on a boat.
Mm.
And all the guys in the office, they were boat guys. And I don't care about
Didn't
boats.
didn't fit in.
No, no, but I made good friends with this one guy, Will. We were motorcycle buddies
Mm,
together. I had a bike in college. I got off two wheels. I'm my own worst enemy with
I,
adrenaline junkie activities.
I feel you there.
I like being inside of my coffin rather than on top of it.
Right.
Um, yeah. So, yeah, but the boss there, I'll never forget it. It was our exit interview, and he told me, Pete, you did good work, but you're not going to give a shit until we put wheels on boats. And it was at that moment I realized, maybe there is something here. Maybe what if I just chased my passion and went for it? Um, so I went back to school, and my Northeast guys will know the NASCAR modified series is bigger up north than anywhere else. I tried to get a job sweeping the floor at Troyer Chassis. They build the modifieds. They were one of the best modified chassis builders in the country. And just like I'm like trying to get part-time engineering work, and um, you know, I don't know what their demands are. There were like 6 or 8 people that worked there, period,
Mm.
but they didn't have time for me as an engineering student. And I'm like, well, what about just to sweep the floor or something? And they're like, no, not really. We're all set. And I'm like, ah. So I set my sights on um, printing out resumes and going to good guy shows. I met a ton of companies that way. Um, had some things here and there doing remote CAD work. I did a little work for Ride Tech from school. That was interesting insight, but um, what really clicked for me was going to PRI in 2017. uh, I went down the list of however, 1,000 or so companies that go to PRI every year. And I told that I basically boiled it down in a spreadsheet. I can't talk to 1,000 companies, and I don't even want to work for all these.
Right.
So I took the analytical approach and, narrowed it down to like 60 companies, and I printed 100 resumes because campus, the paper was free, or it was on our account. So I got rid of all my resumes
Right.
at PRI in 2017. Um, but yeah, it was awesome. Kind of the most inspiring part of that show was meeting Mike Finnegan there, and
Oh, yeah.
Finnegan like hands me a beer and we're talking, and I had my portfolio. I had a binder full of pictures
Mm.
of the 66 Bronco that's been around my family since that was new. Um, that was a shop truck at the Lincoln Mercury dealer my grandpa worked at. So my dad's been driving that truck since he was 10
Oh, that's
and
cool.
plowing snow with it in New York. And everybody used and abused that truck, and nobody cared about those things back
Mm.
in the 60s,
Nah.
70s, 80s. So my dad got it for free, and it was a beach bomber. There's pictures of it, um, taking it fishing on the beach with the PVC pipe fishing pole.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
The
uh,
holder, the rod holder.
you bolted to the front bumper, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, this thing rotted out so bad. It was still a plow truck up north, and we basically got it to like it was like 2006. We made the decision, we were going to keep it, and I grew up restoring this truck with my dad. Um, so yeah, and then I delayed it in high school. We finished it just about the time for that. So that was pretty cool. It's weird. He trusted me more with that truck back then than he does now because he thinks I'm some crazed race car driver. And it's like, yeah, but Dad, you should recognize I'm an engineer now, and I realize like what a death trap that Bronco is. And
Yeah.
I barely want to do the speed limit on our country roads in the Carolinas. It's sketchy, man. These
Uh,
old cars are sketchy. And yeah, that was
yeah.
a rabbit hole. But
Mm.
showing that to Mike Finnegan in a portfolio, and he's just like so engaged in this, like a normal person, he's not
Mm.
just like brushing it off. And I'm like, I could see myself in this industry. These are people, these are passionate people about hot rods and things. And that was a turning point for me too. So I talked to dozens of companies, and I landed myself at Detroit Speed and Engineering.
Oh, sweet.
Um, yeah, where I was there. I wore a lot of hats there. Most of my time there, I started in design engineering and then toward the end of it, more quality and manufacturing engineering. Um, Simply because I'm kind of the guy, just with my fabrication and machinist background and mechanicking, like another one of my co-ops. I'd never wanted to be um, I saw this disconnect between the floor and the engineers upstairs, and I never wanted to be one of those damn engineers that makes stuff that people can't put together, people can't work with, that's
Mm,
pain in the neck, mechanicking. You
yeah.
always find stuff that's pain in the ass to work on.
Mm,
I never wanted to be one of those damn engineers. So I
mm,
sought to be that guy and that could bridge the gap between the shop floor and the designers, to try to make things smarter, not harder,
mm,
as cost effective as possible, which is important with low volume, with aftermarket parts. We don't have high volume, and then to the end user as well, we want to make a product that's affordable and easy to work on. Um, so I kind of got my niches through that. Um, Detroit Speed got bought by Holly. They
mm.
played Pac-Man with the whole industry.
All of them.
And yeah, and well, now you look at the Holly stock price, I'll just kind of leave it at that. And go in public and you put a bunch of suits and ties in there, not hot rodders. And they've sold Detroit Speed and they've
Yep.
sold a lot of other companies too. So they built it up and they're selling. And I'm not an accountant, I'm not a bean counter, I'm not a suit and tie. I don't know what the end game is. But you look at some of the Hoonigan Wheel Pros, that whole
Mm,
disaster. They're basically not relevant anymore. Um, there's just been a lot of change in the industry, but we march on. I know a lot of people who have moved on and they're doing other things. Racers race, hot rodders build cool cars, and you know, out of the ashes, we've gone on to other stuff. So,
yeah.
yeah, I'm at Hendrick Motorsports now.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and have nothing to do with NASCAR.
Oh, no.
Hendrick
Okay.
Hendrick diversified into some military contract stuff. So our biggest client is GM Defense. We build the infantry squad vehicle. So we're scaling up rapidly the production for that and some other cool programs. So again, it's just bringing my philosophy of that they're another wild success stories. They're the winningest team in NASCAR, and they've still got that NASCAR redneck spirit.
Mm,
Um, but just showing them how to build parts better, faster, cheaper. You can't put all those things together
right.
a lot, but
Mm,
that's the challenges of the work that I like going to work every day and working that out
mm,
with our fabricators and our engineers.
yeah.
So that's my professional life in a nutshell. But I guess we're here to talk about the racing.
Yeah.
How did I
Yeah.
skip over all of
Yeah,
that?
that's fine. That's fine. I look, if there are any young listeners out there, I think what you did with kind of kickstarting your career and actually heading the direction you wanted to go was going to PRI. I mean,
Yeah,
it's such a great idea, and uh, again, I hate to get off on a tangent here,
you
but
have to
from
go get. You have to
professionally
go.
speaking,
Yeah,
it's extremely hard to find a job these days,
you
and
have to go get it. You have to
yeah,
want it and
mm,
put yourself in a position, do some research, figure out where these people are going to be, and just go talk to them. Because
right,
it wasn't even PRI at first, it was going to good guys. And I'm
mm,
just like, what if I just, because the RIT career fair, they didn't have any, I mean, they had Honda, Toyota, GM, like big OEM stuff. And I thought, oh, that'd be cool. But I didn't have good enough grades to be competitive to get into those things. And then I found out what the people who I knew who went there, oh, they were just doing spreadsheets. And I'm like, it's not what I want to do. And maybe that's why in interviews there, maybe that's why they didn't hire me because they're like, oh, this kid's going to be miserable. We need a guy who's going to want to push spreadsheets and sit at a desk, not like work on stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe it was to my own benefit that
Mm,
I didn't go to these big OEM corporate places and just figuring out, I'll just make the thing I like my career fair, you
mm,
know,
right.
going out and where the things are happening that I want to do and throwing myself in there.
Mm. That's super good advice for anybody.
Yeah.
I say young people, but it could even be for older people if you
Yeah.
never thought of doing that,
Oh, if you want to
Yeah.
do a career change, yeah,
You
absolutely. I
know?
mean, the only reason I'm at Hendrick Motorsports now is because I snuck through 3 security gates to get into the NASCAR garage. And I'm talking to Brian Whitesell, he's been in Hendrick Motorsports since 1993.
Mm,
He won the championship with Alan Kowicki, and Kowicki unfortunately passed in the plane accident after his championship. But yeah, then he went on to Hendrick, and he crew chiefed for Jeff Gordon, and Brian Whitesell has been responsible for every Hendrick Motorsports championship to this day, 14 championships. And yeah, here he is standing talking to this uncredentialed engineering student who was it couldn't believe I got in there. And he's like, "You want an interview?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I do."
yeah.
Um, yeah, that was 5 years ago when I got for Detroit Speed.
Mm.
And you know, he said, "Well, maybe you could get me a deal on a subframe," because he's got a '69 Camaro. He's a gearhead,
Yeah.
and he says, "But yes, stay in touch, and let me know when you need something." And so 5.5 years later, I followed his advice to a T, and I called him back, and it's all about making connections. And
Mm.
he couldn't believe it that I reached back out and I was doing well, and he got me a job.
Sweet.
So.
At least he remembered you, right?
Yeah. Oh, he remembered. Yeah. He asked me before I left, how
Mm.
about that subframe? Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so let's
Yeah.
the Mustang.
Yeah.
It was your daily, and I assume you just started autocrossing when it was bone stock. Mm,
Yeah. It was all the car I could afford
mm,
straight out of school. And I'm starting a job at Detroit Speed. I had a little Subaru. That was actually the first car I autocrossed in. Nothing special, not a WR, not even a WRX.
right.
Just a base 2.5. And it was fine for up north in the snow and stuff, but and a hatchback. I moved every 6 months, but I came down south. Now I don't have to move all the time. Now I can get something impractical.
Mm,
Um, and just V8 cars were a little out of my price range for something that new. And being my only car, I wanted it to be new-ish and low miles and reliable. Um, and this kind of checked all the boxes. I wanted it to be rear wheel drive. I wanted something that would scale and stand to like maybe try to impress Kyle Tucker and the other guys at Detroit Speed that like, if I learned how to drive this, they would
mm,
trust me in the company car and I would get to race for my company. And that was like a dream for me at the time. And eventually did. I did a lot of R&D on the Fox Body Mustang
mm,
stuff that
yeah.
they put out. There's a lot of work that I put into that. I got to race it, compete in it, so that was pretty cool. Check that
Mm,
box off.
yeah.
And but yeah, it took a lot of work with me in my only car, 4-cylinder Mustang. And I'm like, oh, maybe I'll start with this thing and I'll run D Street. And I've won a couple of local championships in it. Go on the national tour. My first national tour was my fourth event ever in the car, and I got waxed,
Yeah.
and I still get waxed.
Yeah.
I've never won a trophy on the SCCA national tour in the 7 years I've been going at it, but I've been slowest of the fast guys, man. Like
Mm,
1 or 2 spots out of the trophies for a long time in difficult classes with not the car to have,
yeah.
especially in D Street. And then Cam is just you see who you're going up
Oh,
against in
yeah.
Cam. It's crazy, but we've kind of the guys, like Mikey Albacetti, he and I are like on top of each other all the time. There's just a handful of us guys that are just like on the cusp of the trophies that we have our good battles. And, um, but you go anywhere outside of SCCA. And so my favorite event to go to, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's different because it's the import drag racing shootout.
Okay.
IDRC does this every year. It's like the biggest DSM event in the country. I don't know if the world, the Mitsubishi stuff, it's kind of it's not really developing anymore. The cars are hard to find. But no, and notice too, it's the import drag racing shootout. It's not the
Okay.
import autocross shootout.
Okay.
So they have a little autocross there. And I go and I win the rear wheel drive class. And I look like a superhero in front of my engine builder. Um, and they think I've won this 3 years in a row now, the autocross there, and they're just like out of this world. And I'm like, I remind them, I'm like, guys, this is like, you go to an SCCA event, and it's the competition is second to none
Mhm.
for the kinds of drivers that show up out there. Um, but yeah, I ran the UMI season this year. Came in third at Muscle on the Mountain, first at Autocross Challenge.
Nice.
So that punched my ticket to King of the Mountain.
Mm.
Um, and as I was unloading the school bus, um, I after Autocross Challenge, I fell out of the back of it and fractured my elbow.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. So here I am. I've been dreaming for 7 years or whenever they started King of the Mountain that I'd go there someday. I get my golden ticket and I fracture my elbow.
Oh,
Um,
it's a little hard to
yeah,
drive with a fractured elbow.
I did it. Yeah, it was like 4 weeks later, and I told them the day I broke I fractured it. I told them I'm driving, I'm racing on the 22nd. They're like, yeah, okay, we'll see. And I'm like, no, I'm going. And yeah, they did a little follow up, and they're like, yeah, okay, as long as there's no impacts or nothing, like just be careful. So I made it work. Didn't make the shootout, but you can understand. That King of the Mountain, there's no energy like it in autocross. With being under the lights and the camaraderie of that event. Like I love going to Lincoln for solo nats, like the 1300 drivers. It's Burning Man for cars.
Yeah, right.
We're all just out there. But it's almost too big. There's just so many people to see and hang out with. Where like an event that's like 10% of the car count, you really do get to hang out with everybody. They got a beautiful pavilion. I don't know if you've been up to UMI
No,
yet.
no,
You got
but
to get
I
up
mean, I
there.
watched it on
Yeah.
YouTube. I mean, the cars there are phenomenal. I mean,
Yeah.
I would like, I'd be happy as a spectator just to check out the cars.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's a great show. Yeah, they're doing something special there. And I remind Ryan every time he's there. I remind Ramey. I remind all the crew guys. I thank them, and that's something for people to take away too. I was as an event organizer for some time down here. We had our own little series that kind of unfortunately came and went due to circumstances. Some in our control, some out of our control. That's kind of how it goes. Um, but thank your organizers, thank your promoters, thank everybody who puts on the event because it's a lot of work. It's
A lot of
very
work.
hard for us to do it. For our crew at Motorsport for the Masses, like we would have our events going and it would seem like a complete basket case behind the scenes, and people are none the wiser because they're
Mm-mm.
driving, they're having fun, they have no idea like what's going on.
Mm.
So that was kind of a realization too to our crew, and it's like we thought we had a bomb of a day and everybody's like, you did awesome, that was the greatest day ever, so
Right. Yeah.
just kind of keep that in mind. Thank your corner workers, thank everybody
Yeah.
who does this because you're having a lot more fun than they are.
Yeah. I mean, I just came home from Mo Party and just the production that
Yeah,
FM3
yeah,
has to do.
Jimmy and his guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And look, Mo Party's probably, a fraction of what LS Fest is. And, you know, it's probably like herding cats at LS Fest.
yeah,
I can't imagine the effort that they have to put into that.
right.
I mean, Mo Party's my favorite event. I love it. I'll be there
Yeah,
until I'm unable to be there.
that's great.
You know, and
Yeah.
which you've done Ford Fest, so you know how it is. You know,
Yeah, yeah, Ford Fest is a good time.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm very lucky working for Hendrick Motorsports. Um, we we're all involved with racing, like even on the contract manufacturing side. We're losing that a little bit as we have to hire more people to get the volume that we need. But still, they're trying to scout out, and like there's so many people in the offices and on the floors that are involved in it. So they get it when I'm at an event on a Sunday night and especially like night events and things. And then it's like, hey, I'm going to be traveling to get a reasonable amount of sleep. I'm not going to be there at 6:30 in the morning, and they get it. Or we
Mm,
actually work a 410s schedule most of the campus.
mm,
You can opt into 410s. So that extra Friday is super nice to start to pack, to start
yeah,
your journey. So they really do take awesome care of us in that regard.
that's cool. So,
So I'm lucky I get to do, and they give us a decent amount of vacation too. So I'm lucky that I get to do all of these events. I'm out 40 to 50 days a year. Um, I get to do autocross week. I get to do solo nats. I get to do Mid-Atlantic Car Fest. These like week-long
week
events
long
that I
things, yeah.
basically get to, and they schedule it out smart, like around holidays, weeks and stuff. I think the only one I have to take a full like 5 days is autocross week, but the others, solo nats is around Labor Day.
Mm,
Um, and Carfest starts later in the week. So it's strategic that they do that because they can get more people. The Bristol SCCA Summer Nats is always 4th of July. So you don't have to burn so much PTO to be a race car driver. But still, I that without question that Hendrick is supportive of me and letting me, they've never said no to vacation, even with like 80% of our 5-person department all getting the same vacation. It's like, well, tough luck,
we're
like,
closed.
yeah, pretty much. Um, so yeah, it's been awesome. But if I had to pick a favorite event, I would say the Mid-Atlantic Car Fest that's actually coming up.
Mm,
Simply because it is the most grassroots and organic poor man's one lap that like it starts as an episode of Top Gear, and the four hosts of it, the four originators of it, they do the drivers meetings, and they're just they're just such characters, and their chemistry is so entertaining. To see them all come together and bicker as the drivers meeting is going on, and you just feel like there should be a camera crew here,
right.
like this is funny stuff.
Right.
And it goes from Top Gear to Roadkill, sometimes in as little as like 15 minutes, like people start breaking,
Yeah.
people have to fix things.
Mm,
And we convoy together on the roads, and that's just a sight to see. I've got our um uh the uh the number card in the background
mm.
there,
Oh yeah.
we all have matching number cards. Um, it's just like people roll up on us like just 20, 30 cars, going down the road together, going to all these different tracks, 5 races in 4 days. And it stays pretty competitive too, because they don't score it by your overall time. They give you points per event. And
Mm,
so like if we sold out 40 cars, the winner of each event gets 40, second 39, 38, 37.
mm.
So going into the last day last year, um, second on I mean, Justin Peachy, he had to start, in his backup Corvette. He bought a C5 Corvette just for CarFest because
Oh
he screwed
jeez.
up the C6. Yeah. So in his backup Corvette, all he had to do was start the day, which was
Mm,
not a guarantee either because that car was smoking something fierce.
mm,
But he made it happen. And but second on through to seventh had a shot at the podium. So that was how tight the points battle was. And even if you're toward the back of the pack, you find your neighbors.
Mhm. Yeah.
You guys could trash talk for 11th place or the
Right.
top 10 all you want.
Yeah. You got to chase
We
somebody, right?
we had two guys at the drag strip at Mason Dixon drag strip. They were fighting. I'm a drag racer like 1 or 2 days of the year,
Mhm.
like it's fun, but I only do so much of it. But
Mhm.
um, you know, y- it's a straight line. We got our fun in, we
Right.
had enough.
Yeah.
But we had the drag strip for like another like 2 or 3 hours, the rental.
Mm.
So everybody was done running except these two. That one was David Myers, and he didn't have his Corvette running. He had a his Miata um, named Puppy after the wimpy puppy or yeah, it's just like this the most sad little pathetic NA Miata that's like um or it's an NB and it's like four different colors, just from like yeah, this thing's beat up.
Yeah.
Um versus Josh, I'm gonna butcher his name. I think it's Waddell. Um and they Josh was driving his high school fourth gen, and so they were fighting to see who could be the first. Um, David and Puppy was trying to break into the 15s on the quarter, and Josh in the fourth gen was trying to break into the 14s.
Yeah.
So they were taping up their noses. They were taking parts off of the car. Yeah, David, he took the alternator off, the drive belt, everything, like ultimate weight reduction, to just crack to be slightly less slow. And that is just the whole spirit of the event right there.
Mm.
Oh, and David in when he was reconnecting the alternator, he grounded it out and he blew his main fuse. So that right there is the spirit of the event,
Yeah.
um, of just doing ridiculous stuff with your friends
Yeah.
and making it worse and then fixing it.
Yeah.
So that's really why I like the Mid-Atlantic Car
Yeah.
Fest, and I'm looking forward to doing it next month.
Do they cap registration at a certain amount?
We're just trying to keep it kind of low key. I don't know that we've gotten close. I know the registration is officially closed, but if you talk to Jed Marks on Facebook, and he's going to hate that I said that because that's like that's not his real name, that's his burner account, but that's how everybody finds him. It's
Mm.
Jed Marks. Um, if you ask nicely, I think he ordered some extra number cards.
Mm.
But yeah, we start at Dominion, south of DC, on the NASCAR circle track.
Mm.
We do NASCAR qualifying on the circle track. It's just single car, outlap, two flyers come in. Then we do the track night in America on the road course right outside of the NASCAR oval. And that's we bring half the participants to SCCA Track Night in America. Like they give us our own run group. They absolutely love us too,
Yeah.
which is great. So we get our best time on the track night on the road course. Then we trek up to Mason Dixon for the drag racing the next day. And then this year we're going to UMI, thanks to Ryan for
Mm.
letting us rent that place. So I'll be bringing some stuff to test on the car now, that I didn't have for King of the Mountain. Going to be changing gear ratios and changing some other um, charge pipes and a little bit of suspension adjustment. So that'll be good to get another test day at UMI. Those are few and far between. Um, and then we'll finish it out at Pocono Raceway, which the cool thing about Pocono, the tricky triangle, each pretty much each corner of the triangle has its own like independent infield road course
Mm.
that you could basically hold like a number of events at the same time. So we will be on the turn 3 road course, and we will be having a track sprint on that. It's just like a single, it's an autocross run without cones on a
Oh.
road course.
Mm.
But yeah, so yeah, the 5 events over 4 days, and it ends up being about 700 miles. Um, we add a few hundred miles of like back roads and sightseeing and stuff, and hope nobody breaks in the middle of nowhere.
Do you help
Well,
organize that one at all?
I don't.
Mm,
I mean, I try to help organize the South coming up to
mm,
it.
mm,
I've gotten a handful of people to come up for it
mm.
this year, so um, that's just fun. I'm just like trying to spread the sport as far as I can, and like just this event is so much fun to me just for how like laid back and like I can throw my hair back and I don't have to worry about acting like an idiot in front of these guys because we're all idiots,
Yeah.
Like, oh man, it is so politically incorrect. And it's just fun to be able to just a bunch of dudes. We allow women, of course.
Yeah.
But the thicker the skin, the better, because
Sounds like my kind of crowd, actually.
yeah.
Oh goodness. So, what I assume the Mustang's not stock anymore, right?
Oh gosh, yeah, no. It's been a very gradual build because being my only car, street class kind of favors that. So once I basically, so I got the car in 2018 with 18,000 miles for $18,000. Funny coincidence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I kept it stock D Street for the next 3 years. Yeah. Because I won, um, now I'm getting a little fuzzy. Maybe 4 years, three and
Mm.
a half years, let's call it. Yeah, because I didn't win my local championship the first year, but I got it the second year and the third year. And then the fourth year, I made my campaign out to at nationals for the first time. And on my YouTube channel, I have it. It's the biggest autocross wreck. Uh, I took out the finish
Oh,
at like full bore. I didn't hit the timing lights, but I took out the tall yellow cone, the double cone next to it, and like two or three cones after it because I jammed the thing into third gear and I stomped on it. My ass was a little uneasy.
mm.
And the finish line is right there. And it's like, all right, I got to get to the finish. And I'm like top of second gear coming out of this like kind of slalomy. It was it, at the time it seemed like third was not a bad idea to try to go into. So yeah, I ended up yeah, take clobbering all that stuff and the wheel well just couldn't take the volume of cones anymore. So it ended up ripping the fender liner. It got wrapped around the wheel and it yanked the fender behind the door such that I had to climb out the window of
Dang.
the car. So yeah, until I hammered it out with a rock and a pry
Mm.
bar later on because I did not want to look like an idiot like Bo Duke climbing out of the window of my
Right.
fake race car at every gas station between Nebraska and North Carolina.
Right. Fake race car.
Yeah. And it's just like I've got this duct tape on my nose that it's a very close the 3M yellow is a very close match to Ford triple yellow and people don't even realize it's duct tape until they're really close to
Uh,
it. But I've drawn Sharpie on it, number
mm,
one cone killer,
mm,
Solonats 22 and
mm,
um but it was at that event that I realized like I got my satisfaction of being best of the rest. I was the first D Street car that wasn't a Type R or one of those little Toyo Barus. So that felt good. I'm like 26,
mm,
like a dozen spots out of the trophies. But hey, I was
mm,
the best of the rest.
mm,
So I took that, and then I'm looking at the SCCA time trial program, and I wanted to do some of that. So time trials opened up the rules. They allowed caster camber plates, and lowering springs. So I got on and with Terry Fair, who we've been
mm,
internet friends for a while. Still haven't met the guy, but he seems like a real character. I heard him on your
mm,
podcast and great episode.
mm.
One of my favorites. And yeah, I want to meet that guy someday
Yeah,
for sure.
he's probably fun to hang out with.
Yeah. So he helped me out with the camber plates back then. And yeah, so I ran it, did some time trials with it. I got the car tuned. And just more gradually because again, I was still driving it every day. And then kind of got dumped on me. I got a free Crown Vic. One of my mom's friends. She lived in an HOA and she stopped driving the car because it got really bouncy. And yeah, it's like a 200,000 mile Crown Vic. This girl's younger than me. She's like in her middle 20s and knows nothing about cars. Her husband knows nothing about cars. They're like software. They work at a software company in Charlotte. So my mom asks me, she texts me, uh, do you, uh, I forget her name now. I can't think of the name, but she has do you know anybody who wants a Crown Vic body? And I'm like, what's wrong with the rest of it? And well, it's
Right.
been sitting for 2 years and the engine can't be good anymore. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, this is the general population,
Right.
you know? So I took a battery over there and I fired it on the third crank on like 2 years stale gas. I rolled the thing up on my dad's trailer. I got it home. They didn't want any money for it. I ended up buying. I got him a $100 gift card to a steakhouse around here. I'm like, yeah, I got to give you
So,
something.
right.
Like, yeah. So I get it home and I'm like, oh, it's a 200,000 mile Crown Vic. It needs suspension. I take the wheel off and the tire's not round. It's it's like lumpy on the outside, I think. It had tread separation on on three
Mm,
out of four of the tires. I could see the cords rusting through and
mm.
like these tires were rotten and tread separated. So yeah, it was bouncy. Your wheels weren't around. Yeah, like maybe like look at your tires. Oh, look, it's 2021 and you're rolling on '09 date code tires.
Woo!
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, she never bought tires for the car or she had just bought them when she got the car.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeesh, and these people are on the road with us, you know. So I fixed that Crown Vic and I've been dailying it ever since. And I'm like, well, the Mustang's not a daily anymore, so screw it. And um just kept modifying and um, I ended up blowing it up on Autocross Week in 2023.
Oh,
And
shoot.
that was the year that I feel like I really had a shot at it. Or it was 2024. Yeah, it was 24. I blew it up. And yeah, Jeremiah Thomas and I were going at it. And that felt like my year and blew the thing up. And um, within 2 hours, Engineered Motorsports Solutions. They are the EcoBoost world record holder. They're running eights on the quarter with their uh, 2.3 EcoBoost. Yeah,
Dang.
yeah, they're pushing the limits. But everything that Jesse has learned, Jesse Ringley and Ryan Martin, the tuner, everything they've learned pushing 4 digits out of a 2.3 4 cylinder,
Mm,
um, they can make a pretty reliable 600 horsepower street motor.
mm, yeah.
Which I've got their budget build package in the car now. I told them I don't want to do an engine every year. You know what I do for road course stuff. Jesse actually did do road course on motorcycle
Mm,
years ago, so he understands. He's not just a country bumpkin drag racer. He understands the turning fast as well.
mm,
Um, so he got it and they got me a pretty good package that is pushing about I think 450 at the tire. We haven't dynoed it
really?
yet, but just butt dyno and running figuring things. And then if I go E85, which I think I'm gonna do um in the fall winter-ish, he's pretty comfortable. He thinks we can get to 550 um, at the tire. So that would be pretty
Dang.
sweet.
That's pretty
550
good.
wheel and just over 6 torque. So that would be pretty perfect for autocross.
Yeah. What failed on the first engine? Did it kick a rod out?
It was a really bad head gasket. It wasn't
Mm,
even a rod. Yeah,
mm,
I was surprised too. Well, it ran, but it was just was just white smoke out the
Oh,
back
okay.
of it, and I knew it was hurt when it happened. I could smell the oil when during the run, I could smell burning oil. And I'm just like, all right, it's fine. Like the smell's getting worse. And then I start seeing smoke out the back. And I'm like, okay, maybe I forgot to empty the catch can and it'll be fine. And I'm just going at it,
Mm.
and yeah, the thing popped. And the crazy part was I almost killed the cameraman.
Oh
Um,
shit.
yeah. So I hit the brakes going into a bus stop at 64. The data said 64 miles an hour, and nothing happened except that the car started sliding forward because the tires, everything, the whole underside of the car was covered in oil. The tires were covered in oil. Everything was covered in oil.
Dang.
Um, and I slid, and the cameraman was at the exit of the bus stop so when I left the pavement and came back on, my right rear wheel kicked the pavement from the grass onto the pavement and slingshotted me around 180, 270 degrees into the guy.
Uh,
And he was fine. He was
yeah.
fine. He popped right back up. That's the only reason we can laugh about it.
That's scary. God.
Uh,
Oh my
uh,
goodness.
this is the first public forum I've told the story into. I've told people on the side. I've
Mm.
shown people the screenshots and the video. It's not publicly shared. Don't go looking for it. But if you give me a bourbon or a beer in the paddock, I'll share the story, and I just share it for safety's sake. It's been long enough.
Mm.
But safety. If you're a cameraman or a worker at any or a spectator at any of these events, you need to realize these cars are moving fast enough that like
Yeah.
and expect them to end up in places that they're not supposed to be in.
Right.
So,
Yeah. I mean, if they're
yeah,
coming straight at you, you need
yeah,
to.
yeah. The
It's
exit of
probably
the
not
bus
a good
stop
spot.
probably was not a good spot for him.
No.
Yeah, but even off to the side, you just got to be conscious of where can that thing go.
Mm.
Um, if something goes wrong with an input you
Right.
know, or
Do you,
even a mechanical like I had.
I've never ridden an EcoBoost Mustang. Do you have to really spin those things to get the power out of them?
No, so what Ford was able to do with this, the turbo technology is great. They have what they call a twin scroll turbo,
Hmm.
and it basically uses it has multiple exhaust ports in
Hmm.
the head so that the turbo is always getting spun by the four cylinders, however they fire, there's always exhaust going through the turbo. With the port technology and the twin scroll. So they get them pretty punchy. For me on the stock turbo, though, it fell on its face at about 5,500 RPM. They really went for they tuned these cars for like a seat of the pants kind of. Really, they tune the cars for the magazine riders still, the 0 to 60, which
Mm.
I don't know. There's no magazines anymore. So, can we get 0 to 70 for autocross? Like that would be ideal for
Right.
everything. Like that's what really
That's
matters,
all that
right?
matters to us, right?
Yeah. And it's funny. I'm gonna go off on a tangent for a second. The New Jersey, the Central New York. I don't know who runs there. The SCCA over there in the armpit of America, New York, New Jersey. I could say that because I grew up there. Um, but they lost the Giants Stadium for their venue because they're putting up some like I don't know, some kind of like soccer, like World Cup kind of stadium in their parking lot. It's
Mm.
like don't they know there's autocross that
Yeah.
happens there? Like an
Yeah.
SCCA national tour. What's this World Cup? Like,
Yeah. I
what
mean, that's
is,
nothing important or big, is it?
come on, autocross,
That's way more
cones in
important.
parking lots. Yeah, come on, get with the program, guys.
Yeah.
But,
Oh, geez.
um,
So
but yeah,
what do you think a challenge has been having the smaller engine? You,
um,
do you think if you, well, let me rephrase that. You said you're
yeah,
always uh the fastest of
the slowest of
the
the fast
slowest
guys.
fast guys.
Yeah,
Do you think if you had a Coyote powered Mustang, you would bump up or
no, and it's funny you say that because I have Chris Cervenka local to me, and he used to work for Steeda. in Georgia, and they are the Mustang parts company, I will say, for modern Mustangs and for people who are looking to do both street and autocross or track with their Mustangs. It's not like hardcore balls to the wall like Terry Fair,
Mm.
or some of these other guys, with spherical suspensions like AJ Hartman's kicking into suspension too. It is not track focused stuff. It is street car that can get down and boogie. So that's what Steed has built their platform on. So Chris worked there for years, and he was their marketing guy. He rebuilt their website. He did a ton of stuff with them, and driving. He's a fast driver too. Um, and they had a Steeda EcoBoost there, um, there, um, that I've always wanted to run against. And I'm like, man, I wonder how I stack up against that thing, because it was built to full tilt, but they didn't get too far outside. They didn't go to much, but besides their local SCCA. Um, I got almost what I wanted when Chris moved to Charlotte and he showed up in a dark horse, brand new dark horse Mustang. Um, and it's like, well, I can't run him in the EcoBoost and really see toe to toe, but this brand new dark horse, pretty sweet looking. It's that vapor blue color, and it's like, how do I stack up? And I know this guy's a decent driver too. Um, I got him by like a second and a half on my local ZMAX
Mm.
course. Now granted, he didn't know it. He didn't know the venue yet. And he's narrowed the gap, and we go toe to toe. We'll trade hundredths, if not thousandths of a second. Um, and it's been really fun battling. I call it the David and Goliath.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like
true.
the brand new shiny V8
Mm.
Mustang, like the most that Ford's thrown at it,
Mm.
um, from the factory, versus this little, first year S550 four banger, the cheap one, the rental car spec. But
Right.
um, and then I've co-driven Chris's dark horse at tours, and it's fun. I beat him the first day in his own car,
That's
not by
always fun.
much. Yeah, within a second, but I still beat him. And then
Mm.
the second day it was in the rain, and I looped the car on the first run, and I came within about 20 feet of a pole at ZMAX. And I'm like, yeah, today's not the day
I'm
to
done.
wrap an $80,000 Mustang around a pole. I'm gonna be a little more careful.
Mm.
And he drove it better than me on that day, enough to erode away, and he got the win. But I still get to say I beat him in his own car in the
That's
dry,
right.
at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I-
but yeah, I think my car is capable, especially with how I've developed it. I mean, it's 300 pounds lighter than any of the V8 cars.
Mm.
But then you get guys like Dave Schatz who do the carbon and all the weight reduction and the aero. And,
Mhm.
I don't have the paycheck that I can build as fast as some of these other guys. So I've
Right.
been kind of Johnny cashing it,
Mm.
um, over the years. And the biggest stuff I did this year was the built engineered motorsport solutions engine. And then at the maiden voyage going out to Atlanta and coming back for the pro solo, um, I found a bent Coney yellow shock. And I'm like, great.
Mm.
I don't want to buy another set of Coneys. I've wanted coilovers for a long time.
Mm.
Um, but I've just spent like, even with the sponsor deal on the engine, I'm
Right.
like, close to five figures into the car already this year.
Right.
Let's call up our old buddy Terry and see what he could do to help. So thanks to those guys again. Thanks to really everybody who
Mm.
helps this thing. So we got the coilovers on the car, for a good little deal, and shared some data with him on spring rates and things, and because they don't do a lot of four-cylinder cars. Not a lot of people do the four-cylinder
Mhm.
cars. Um, so what I think my car needs next, the easiest things for me to do is weight reduction. I'm still like full interior. It's a premium interior.
Mhm.
Got heated and cooled seats. Like that's not a race car. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah.
You don't
So
have a
I
race. You don't have a race seat in it.
No, not yet.
Oh
No,
wow.
and that's kind of where we've been. I've had to drive the car everywhere and I've not
Mm.
wanted uncomfortable race seats. But now that I've bought a school bus, that could haul it around, um, yeah, I actually have two school buses. Um, the first one I bought 3 years ago,
Mm.
and I was going to do this build, but I was still at Detroit speed, and I just didn't have the money to throw around at the time, and I really didn't know how I was going to cut off the back of a bus. I've seen pictures online, and I had some ideas, and I started, sketching and figuring and planning. And by the time I saved enough money to really that I felt that I could start and finish the project, I was at Hendrick Motorsports, and then this bus came for sale one town over from me, already done.
Oh,
And I'm
cheap.
like, why am I going to put myself through hell
Mm.
and risk ruining a bus? And this was the easy button.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I've lived out of this thing for 25 days this year.
Was that the reasoning to get the bus so you could live in it too?
Yeah, I mean that was kind of just to have like an RV toy hauler,
Mm.
even just not having to drive the car to and from events anymore. Because
Mm.
I'll tell you, like doing the drive to Lincoln, Nebraska, um, in a bucket seat, factory bucket seat, even that's like not great.
Mm.
Um, 18 hours for me, 1,100 miles. Um, yeah. So to do it in a race seat, and it's just like the car is getting less reliable. I'm putting more miles on it. It's just getting more built. It's getting to the point where I needed to haul it around. But where are you going to find a pickup truck and trailer for under 20 grand?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't.
And then
That'll
you
go
get
across
you,
country and back
yeah.
and not care,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
then you can't live in a truck. Well, I guess you could, but it wouldn't be very comfortable.
It's not as comfortable, right?
Mm.
The bus, I can bring everything I want. I got a toolbox in there. I've got the a tire rack in there. I switched wheels and tires for going between the autocross, the solo nats, and the drag strip for the import drags. And then yeah, I've got sleeping quarters. I've got the futon from my first apartment, ratchet strapped to the wall, threw a Mexican blanket over it. It's mint, good as new. Yeah, it is so cozy in there, and we'll just build it up as I
As you
see
go.
fit.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, 4th of July weekend was hot in there. So it definitely needs a generator and some air conditioning.
Mm.
Um, a fridge and a kegerator would be great. I
Yeah.
am sponsored by a brewery. That's what the Red Buffalo is, the local brewery in Statesville, North Carolina. They don't really pay me money, they pay me beer, which is great.
You could put a
And
tap on the outside so
yeah,
you
that's the
can share
idea.
the beer with your friends.
Yep, yep. And that's kind of what I love about it too is like it's my gateway to the local community because the brewery, it's kind of the watering hole in Statesville, North Carolina. It's in a cool downtown spot. You could see the center of town, the clock tower from our patio out there. And I put a sign up sheet in there and I'm like, hey, come for a ride. I parked the car out front. People are like, what's this? I'm like, you can experience this
Mm.
from the passenger seat.
Yeah.
I tell them the date and time to show up for the local autocross. And I haven't had an empty passenger seat for over a year.
That's
And it's
awesome.
just exposing people to the sport who had no idea it existed. It was so easy to get into. And it's just a lot of fun. That's really what I do with my program and my branding and my silliness is just like to show like this is a life. I've made this a lifestyle. But anyone can enjoy this sport at any capacity.
Mm.
Just get out there and do it. You're gonna meet friends that you could keep for a lifetime and just people that you never knew existed and who like the same things as you. I tell people all the time, like, you've got to just don't build the car, don't worry about mods. Like get out there in whatever shit box you got right now
Mm.
and go race it
Yeah.
because we don't know how long we've got either
Mm.
for the sport, for our own lives, you just got to get out there and do it while you can.
Mm. The last three people I've brought for rides that I didn't know, um, they were speechless. And I
Yeah.
was like, this is my new favorite thing is rendering people speechless.
Yes.
One guy, he said, I think he's like, I don't know if I'm excited or I'm scared. Something like that.
When I
So,
took my dad for his first ride along, um, he said, I don't know how you drive like that. The only thing we didn't, this was like a roller coaster. The only thing we didn't do was go upside down. And he never got back in the car with me again. He's not an adrenaline junkie. I get it all from my mom. My mom jumped out of a plane 13 times before she finished college. So
oh
yeah,
wow.
that's
Yeah.
where I get my adrenaline. So
My wife, she she kind of gets motion sickness,
oh,
and
okay.
both of my kids had ridden with me and all of that. And I just give her a
Yeah.
hard time about never riding with me. So she's like, I'm gonna come ride with you. It was like our local SCCA. So of course she has a girls' night out the night before.
Oh
So
no.
so she shows up on
Not feeling good.
Sunday, probably not
Oof.
feeling the best. And we go through the lights and I look at her and I'm like, you better not throw up in my car. And she's like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing that anymore.
Oof.
So she's actually had a change of heart now. She wants to try it again. I said, well, please don't go out with the girls the night
No.
before. So I'm never gonna let her live that one down. It's pretty funny.
I've had to taper it back myself. I'm a party guy. But if I got to drive like serious the next day, it's like, yeah, maybe I don't need to hit the bourbon so hard after 6 or 8 beers,
Woo.
like once I got knocked out of King of the Mountain when I did not make the shootout, I think it was a blessing in disguise because I got to like relax and enjoy the event with my buddies, and we got ripped, absolutely ripped. And I remember the start of the shootout, um, and I don't remember after that. I don't remember the winning, I don't remember it ending. I just remember getting into the bus.
That's another thing. Good thing about the bus is you can just go to sleep. You don't need to go
Yeah,
anywhere.
you could sleep anywhere in that thing. You pull into a truck stop and the truckers, they make the bus look small,
Mm.
I'm like hidden between these 18 wheelers, you have no idea what's in there.
Right.
Um, but yeah, going down the road, I'm afraid I'm gonna cause like an accident at some point.
Mm.
Because like what people do, and I want to get a whiteboard because I want to like make like tallies for the gawkers that I catch, like because it's insane. The people will pass you in the left lane, and then they'll slow back down, which I hate.
Mm.
That's kind of in a trucker's blind spot. Like that's not good practice.
Right.
But they're slowing down. The school buses have mirrors for days, so I can see
Mm.
them. And then, I know what they're looking at.
Mm.
And then they speed back up and they've got a phone in their hand or the passenger's got a phone in the hand and it's like, oh my God. And it's like I gotta get branding on the side of this bus ASAP because I've already noticed the tick in followers
Oh yeah.
without it being easy to see. Like you could see there's a car in there, but you don't know what the PBR is
Yeah. Yeah.
or any of that. Yeah, I got to get some of that on the side of the bus and like a QR code.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah. It'd be
think
cool. Yeah. If they
I
got
think
that
it'll
cameras
take
out, then they
off.
can, it'll
Yeah.
automatically scan it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not trying to, I don't think I'm going to get like famous or anything, but I think aspiring cult classic is a good thing
Yeah.
to try to shoot for. You know,
I
that
mean, and you may, I mean, look, you might catch a couple of car guys on the road and you might just be curious. They're like, who is
Yeah.
that? So
Yeah, you never know that just that Pete Bruschi lunatic in the school bus, with the half an engine Mustang. He's still trying to make that thing fast.
fake race
I don't
car.
know. I don't know. I just can't get rid of it. It's just I haven't I'm like it's defined who I am. The banana stallion is
Mm.
its name and everybody knows me for it and I haven't wrecked it yet. Like I've pretty much decided I'm going to take this thing to its grave and I just can't get rid of it.
Mm.
And I kind of want to look at hill climb racing, and I don't want the weight of the roll bar, but it's like, that's what else can I do with it?
Mm.
And, hopefully not meet our untimely demise, but it's
Uh,
just like I want to do as much as I can with this car because
yeah.
it's just been fun and I've had everything out of it but the steering rack and the transmission. So everything else underneath has been on and off at least once.
Cool.
So
I love it. Love the story. Love the school
yeah.
bus. It's hilarious. So we can roll into my random three questions. You listened to the
Yeah.
show before? You might have heard some of these, but I got one
hmm
that's new. Is it possible to stop at Bucky's without getting a brisket sandwich?
Oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to say the brisket sandwich. Does like the brisket tacos in the morning? Does that like I get brisket?
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta get the brisket. Yeah.
Or beef jerky. I can't live
Or
without beef jerky.
yep, I've had both. I had the Bohemian garlic on the way out to Lincoln and the cherry on the way back. So I know what you mean.
What's your favorite YouTube channel?
Oh gosh, my favorite channel, man. It's really tough because Motor Trend went under and Roadkill and stuff.
Mm,
But yeah, that stuff, that's really what set me on the course. And I told Finnegan that at
mm,
PRI, while they were still making episodes. And
yeah.
yeah, that's got to be like all time favorite, showing me that like, because I grew up going to car shows and like, nice cars and stuff. And, um, there just became a movement of Freiberger says it best. It's better to get it running than to get it right.
Mm,
And, just kind of this poor touring movement of
right.
just like sending rusty junk out and racing it. And,
Mm,
that's a big inspiration to me. So I think they
yeah.
take the cake. It's going to be hard to beat them.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I probably saw every roadkill episode.
Same.
So, um, what aftermarket part do you think's had the biggest impact for autocross?
Just like,
Any part?
yeah, gonna go. You mean just like just a part, not like a brand or a company, just
No,
like a general.
you choose.
Um,
We don't.
I mean,
The rules are we
I,
don't have rules. So whatever
okay.
you want.
Yeah. I mean, you got to go with the tires first.
Mm,
As a suspension guy, it's tires, suspension, then you add the horsepower. But really, before you do any of that, the most important part of the car is the nut holding the steering wheel.
mm,
So it's going to be against my sponsors' philosophies, but yeah, don't go throwing a bunch of parts at it before you understand. I tell novices this all the time. I coach novices in my local region too. Um, what is the car doing, and what do you want it to do? And that's like the biggest thing. And then you need to do your research or ask around what do I need to put on? Maybe you don't need both sway bars to be bigger. Maybe you actually want one bar bigger, or maybe you want to disconnect a sway bar entirely. So throwing just bigger and stiffer springs and just throwing the kitchen sink at it is not going to help you get faster if you don't understand what you're doing to the car. So that's kind of fundamentally the understanding of what the car is doing. What do you want it to do instead? Is kind of, you know, dodging the question a little
no,
bit,
no, it's good.
but
No, it's good advice. Good advice.
yeah.
So, all right. Lastly, social media. Where can people find you? And sponsors.
Yeah. So I am Pete Bruschi Racing. It's on Peter Brushy on Facebook. I have a page. It's just the algorithms don't let it be active, so I just leave it up there so I can say I work there.
Mm,
But I post on my main Facebook profile. Feel free to add me as a friend, follow, whatever. Yeah, Pete Brushy Racing on Instagram, Pete Brushy Racing on YouTube. I've been slacking on the YouTube content, but as I've thrown more parts at and made my car less reliable, I'm starting to realize why Rick Hendrick started hiring people to work on his cars and haul his cars around, because this is a lot of work and
it
it's cut
is.
into my video time. So I haven't been able to do YouTube for a while, but I
Yeah.
want to go back.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. This was fun.
Yeah, man.
Really enjoyed chatting with you. I think what you're doing is great. Especially, encouraging people to bring their junk out regardless of how good or bad it is. Um,
Yeah.
too many people keep saying, "Oh, I want to get this done, this done." Well, you know what? Just go out and drive it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, fine, we started with the career advice. We started with getting your junk out there. That's just what I'm a really lucky guy in that I get to do all this fun stuff, and I'm just gonna keep sending it and keep sticking my nose where it doesn't belong, and making friends and connections, and that's the whole journey. I want to win more stuff someday, and I think my time's gonna come, but I'm just enjoying the journey. That's what it's all about.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks.